Okie dokie, everybody. What the fuck is happening? Welcome back to the Nance Cast with the homies Sean of No Future, Michael Downs of The Dangerous Maybe. We are here to talk about stuff. We're going to talk about some film with some heavy duty spoilers. So please be aware. Don't listen to this if you care about things getting spoiled. That's
and it's a spoilable movie.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. It's one of the few movies that I think is actually capable of being spoiled. I think for the most part, like whatever, spoilers don't really matter. But the spoiler in this film was it was fucking great. I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, before we get into that, what the fuck's up, guys? How you guys doing? I'm excited to do this.
Yeah.
You first, Sean.
Okay. Yeah, because I guess I was the one that was like, you guys have to watch this fucking movie.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that shit. I just think it got American society in the way in what it's become in 2025. I think it just got that so well. You know, it got class dynamics so well. And you guys specifically, you've been talking about like superego and capitalism. And I had like this inkling. I had this thought that like, you know, I like the ordinary psychosis thing too. But I had this thought that maybe they kind of go together. So this is why I was like, specifically you two, I want you to watch this because like, to me, I wondered if, you know, like if like superego capitalism, it ends up like maybe ordinary psychosis actually needs superego to set it up. And so for me, that's kind of why I wanted you guys specifically to watch this one. But yeah, I just thought like, even if those specific, like, you know, jargony terms, like it doesn't, I just thought it just American society right now in the way that it's changed, it just hit it really well. So I'll just start by saying that we can do it. Yeah.
Mikey, I'm so happy you watched this because it was kind of one of those things. I heard about it. It's Stavros Halkias is in it, from the guy from Cumtown. I mean, Chapo Trap House and Cumtown. Like he's relevant-ish. I like Stavros, so I heard about the movie. But when Sean saw it and was just like, you have to watch this movie. I was like, okay, dude, I'm gonna watch the movie. And then I watched it. I'm dissatisfied with the format in which I watched it. I did watch it on my phone on the illegal websites. I'm jealous of both you guys seeing it in the theater. And then after I saw it, I was like, okay, Mikey, Sean's right. You need to watch this movie. And then fucking, it just so happens that it almost feels like you almost missed your opportunity to watch it in theaters.
I did. It was like the last showing in KC.
Yeah.
Or at least as far as I understand it was. And so, yeah, I hit you up because I remember Sean messaging us about it. And then I remembered you saying you watched it. So I was just like, okay, like it's now or never. I mean, as far as seeing it in the theaters goes, should I see it? And you're like, I don't know if I recommend going to the theater, but yeah. If you should see this movie because I want us to all talk about it.
Did you guys
see? And I was super glad I did. I got off on the wrong foot with the movie because and it's my fault. I told you the story. Like I go in there and it's one of the coolest theaters we have in the KC area, but it's the AMC 28 screen out in Olathe, which is far on the other side of town from where I'm at. So I drive over there and I don't buy concessions at the fucking movies because you're just going to feel violated.
You're going to get raped.
They're so expensive. Yeah, exactly.
They rape your wallet.
Yep. So, but I'm sitting there waiting for the movie to start and I'm like, I want a cherry icy very, very badly. So I go out there and I'm saying, fuck it. I know I'm going to just get fucked here in the worst way possible. And, I go up and I guess like I was still thinking it's going to be like $6 for this fucking thing. Fuck off. I get up there and it was like $9.
Whew.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm sitting just like, what is this? Half a fucking, what? half a bottle of vodka
Dude.
is in this fucking thing.
Dude.
So I pay my $9 and I walk back and I'm pissed off. And so for the first 20 minutes, I was just pissed off that I bought this goddamn icy, which was delicious and hit the spot. But but after I started to forget about the icy situation, I got into the movie and was
you got to
okay,
smuggle shit in. You got to.
No, I'm lucky, and I do snack if you want snacks or whatever. Cool, but you can't. Like, how do you smuggle an icy in? I
Ziploc
really want
bag.
an icy
Yeah, dude.
And so I'm like,
I'd be
one
impressed.
thing I want, I can't fucking smuggle in this piece of shit.
Yeah.
So,
I'm lucky.
I will tell you, real quick. I'll
just
just say, if any fucking movie theater had the fucking vision to go, we're going back to old school prices on concessions.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
people say they can't survive if they do that. They make
They
their money.
could if that was their gimmick.
If that was their one, if there was one theater that was like,
Yep,
$2 for popcorn, $3 for an icy, $2 for a drink, like.
Dude,
I'm
so spoiled because I have like an independent theater that I can walk to from my house. It's fucking great. I actually that's the only place I pay for concessions at because I'm like they're not gouging you that bad at all. So
yeah,
dude,
okay.
I love.
I'll just say the movie was great, and I'm so glad both of you.
Oh yeah.
Pressured me into seeing it non-super egoically.
Did you guys see Poor Things, Lanthimos, the director's last movie? Did you guys see that one?
So I'm ashamed because I don't like saying, I watched half of it, but I did. I watched half of it, and then it was a week I was busy or something, and never watched the second half. But I saw the first half.
I saw it like I saw the trailer, and I was like, that looks like art house garbage. I'm never going to see that fucking movie. And then I had some friends that were going, and I was like, fine, I'll tag along to hang out. And dude, I was blown away. I was like, dude, this guy's, I think he's like, I haven't seen The Lobster. He did that one too, but I have never seen that one. But
I have seen The Lobster. I did not watch Poor Things. Cause it just, it looked, based on vibes, I was like, yeah, that's probably not going to be my cup of tea, but I have seen The Lobster and I can say, it might be my favorite Colin Farrell movie.
Remind me of The Lobster. Maybe I saw this thing.
Spoiler alert. What is the plot? I don't even remember the
Spoilers,
plot.
get out to it.
Yeah. It's Colin Farrell, and it's like, is it like a retirement dating service? It's been years and years since I saw it.
I haven't seen it.
It's really fucking weird, but it's really weird in a good way.
Okay.
Like I do appreciate weird art. But it feels, I don't know, it feels like the weird art aesthetic, like Hollywood and other, I don't know, the industry writ large has got really good at kind of imitating the weird art aesthetic. And so you'll see something that looks like good weird art, and then it turns into just like a poor imitation, which is kind of what I don't know, Poor Things. I was just like, yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah, this Greek guy is definitely a talented director.
Yeah. The trailers were so bad. All of them for Poor Things. They were so fucking bad. But yeah, the movie ended up being fucking great. But Bugonia, it's actually based. It's a remake of a South Korean fucking B movie.
Nice.
Like, made shoestring budget. That's super trashy, and you can't find it on streaming anywhere. You can probably get a DVD of it, but it doesn't stream anywhere. But I want to watch it really bad.
I want to watch it too, dude.
Yeah.
I love
the same
Korean
plot,
film.
but yeah, it was totally reimagined. But anyway,
yeah, I'm gonna have to find that because I think Hollywood peaked.
I'm on it. I'm gonna see if I can find it now.
Nice. I think Hollywood peaked in the 90s, and I think Japan kind of took up the mantle of the best filmmaking place for a while, and then now I think it does rest in Korea. And it's not just because Netflix and other streaming services find it cheaper to import film and television from Korea. I like Korea's version of film and Japan's version of film. I think like Suicide Club, one of my favorite fucking movies. The original Old Boy, the Korean Old Boy, not the Josh. I mean, the Josh Brolin one is good too, but the OG Old Boy
is the original.
Yeah. So I'll definitely have to. It's called Bugonia as well. The Korean
I don't
one?
think so.
Oh, okay.
No, I think that's a completely different name. Just Google here. I'll look it up.
So okay, about 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine. Oh, sorry, Nat. Just real quick. About 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine messaged me and was like, "Hey, I'm looking for an incredibly rare movie. I'm willing to bet you have it in your collection. If anybody in KC has it, it's you." And I was like, "Okay, what's it called?" And she was like, "Save the Green Planet."
That's it.
And I was like, "I don't have that one." And she's like, "Well, if you ever come across it, let me know." So now I get why.
There you go.
Hey,
That's
internet.
Bugonia. Now I'm gonna
Internet.
shit.
Shout out if anyone watching this has a line on this physical disc.
It is. I think on Amazon, I think it was going for $40 used DVD. But as far as I know, I don't think it has a Blu-ray or a 4K release.
That's like me having to hunt down Megalopolis on eBay, dude.
I know.
I paid
I'm jealous you have that.
It was like
that's crazy because that's like a new movie.
I don't think it had a US release, dude. I really don't.
Wow.
MGM was gonna put it out, and for some reason they like canceled it. So I bought a French Blu-ray, or is it a French 4K?
You got the 4K.
Yeah, I bought a French 4K steelbook. It's a really nice presentation. It's in French. Luckily enough, I know enough French that I could read the listing, and I was like, yeah, it looks legit, and so I bought it. But yeah, I think that's going to be a cult classic in 20 years' time.
You'd think if you had that cast, you have Adam Driver and Aubrey Plaza, you'd think you would. Do you have Shia LaBeouf in it?
Shia LaBeouf's in it, yeah.
What? John Voight? You'd think you would get just on the cast alone.
Just on the name, dude. Coppola, come on, man.
Humphrey Bogart's ghost is in that fucking movie. Like,
that's wild.
So, yes. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the name, and it actually makes sense that it's unique to this Lanthimos version, being that he's Greek. Bugonia is kind of a word. It's like ancient Greek. It stands for like the descendants of an ox. And it Virgil wrote about it, and I wanted to ask you earlier, Sean, because you're into the classics, and I wanted to ask you, like, if you're aware of what the word Bugonia means.
Fuck no. I should have looked it up, but I never did. I was just fixated on other shit. About it.
Well, and it was Mikey prodding. He was like, this has to mean something. I was like, no, I know it does mean something. I can't think about it off the top of my head. So I did look further into it. And Virgil wrote about this esoteric ancient Egyptian ritual in which they would slaughter cows or oxen, and they would seal them and specially prepare them in a tomb. And it was like this kind of occult religious ritual to spontaneously generate bees, like how they used to believe flies were spontaneously generated out of like dead meat. It's that same thing, but with Bugonia, it was specifically this supposed ancient Egyptian ritual, and that's where bees came from. They spontaneously generated from the carcass of a dead ox. So the word itself already has this kind of like occult mystique to it or whatever. But it's interesting, the fact that, you know, you have to slaughter the animal in order for the bees to live on the carcass, and that has spoiler alert, that has direct ties
get down to
to the film. Once again, spoiler alert, people. Fucking spoiler alert.
No,
I don't want to ruin this.
So for the bees to thrive, it's out of our death, out of our sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Nance and I figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, what was I going to say? I have no idea what I was going to say.
Should I just say, because somebody's sitting here going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Part of the thing with the movie is it addresses this idea that the bees are dying. And it addresses this idea that somehow humanity is the cause of bees going extinct. And so at the end of the film, spoiler alert, get out to face. At the end of the film, humanity's wiped out, and the bees, it ends like zoomed in on a bee pollinated
M. Night
flowers.
Shyamalan would love this movie now that I think about it, because in The Happening, that's basically the plot of The Happening.
Where the trees take us out or try to take us out.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for The Happening.
Yeah,
dude, I found
spoiler alert for 2008's The Happening.
So I like posted something about this movie being like one of the best new movies I've seen in years. And
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And someone commented on it, like it was some like sarcastic comment like, oh yeah, working class people are totally incompetent and the ruling class is great. And like to them, that's what this movie is about. And humanity needs to get wiped out. And I'm like, what? That's what you took away from this shit? What the fuck? Like that's not what I took away.
One of you'll do a better job, either one of you, than me. Somebody needs to give a basic summary of what the movie is.
We probably
before we get into
it.
Yeah. So one thing, Sean and I talked about this right after I watched the movie, and I was like, okay, when we have an episode about this, I want to title it something about like we all have women chained up in our basement.
Yeah.
Because I think like for me, like it's true, we all do have, like every single one of us has a woman chained in our basement, and that's a specific plot point, but I'm already going off. So the plot of the movie, you have I don't know, Jesse Plemons plays lower than average, we'll call him lumpen, or on the border of, worker / lumpen. I think he has a job at the warehouse. It's very clearly he lacks stability. He lacks any material support, and it's kind of him and his cousin, I think, who's mentally challenged. So. And they are just kind of going through it. And oh my God, dude, the beginning, be prepared, dude. It starts at a fever pitch, dude. They're chemically castrating themselves. It's fucking insane. And then
the basic plot,
okay.
Like the way I described the plot is like the basic plot is just two working class miserables abduct a pharmaceutical CEO. That's the basic plot.
Yeah.
So they end up they lock her, and one of them is like mentally handicapped or whatever, and then but they lock this CEO in their basement, and I think it's like I don't think it's entirely incidental that she's a woman and they're two men who are like but like they lock her in the basement, and
why do they lock her in the basement?
Because the what's his name, the actor, the blonde
Jesse
guy?
Plemons.
Jesse Plemons' character is just absolutely convinced that she is an alien.
She's an Andromedan.
From Andromeda. Yeah, she's completely.
And they don't use is it Ike, the conspiracy theory that the power elite are reptiles?
Yeah.
Is that it? But it's playing off that.
Yeah. And so he's completely convinced that this is the case. Like absolutely no doubt in his mind that this is the case. And he's going through trying to basically convince his cousin or whatever that that is the case, and the cousin's kind of doubting, but he's clearly doesn't have the confidence to stand up to it or to contradict really. And so that's the basic plot. That's how, and then shit just kind of intensifies from there as a sheriff shows up at one point to the house to check on things, and and then he ends up, spoilers, he ends up not surviving very long. So
get out to you,
dude. That interaction with Stavi and Jesse Plemons, with the cop and I wish I would have written down the character names. But the cop and the protagonist, he's a protagonist, yeah. And Emma Stone is the antagonist, even though she comes out on top. The interaction at the house where he's like, dude, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you. I promise I didn't do that with any other kids. Like that writing was,
I forgot about that.
Dude, I like everything about this movie. Like it's not just, it was really good, and it was cool and edgy, and I think it really did appeal to, I think they did a really sensitive treatment of millennials and even Gen Z males. Like we are kind of lost and searching and I've been everything, alt-right, alt-light, far left, Marxist, going down this list. Like I've tried it all. It's all bullshit. Like the way they express the emptiness of the world was really sensitive and I think beautiful. But everything about this movie, I think, from the cinematography, like it's weird, and there's some really kind of jarring moments that were bold. I think they made some bold choices, and this is the best film I've seen.
The violence is very violent.
Oh yeah,
I'll give it. And I watch gory shit all the time. That just is. It doesn't impact me, at least. And the violence in this, like, God damn, okay. And it's because it's situated in a there's no camp. It's not gore for gore's sake. It is gore injected into a very serious, dramatic situation. And that's always works.
And it's serious and it's relatable.
It's
too.
Like
you can really
world.
feel. Yeah. Like, I mean, how different is this from, that like Italian kid in New York that killed the CEO, like
Luigi. Yeah, absolutely.
Luigi. Like, how different is it from that? It's like, but yeah, and it's such, like, to me, it's such a metaphysical movie, and I've been thinking a lot about metaphysics.
Yeah, man.
And
but it's retroactively that we have to get to the end.
Yeah,
because I think throughout do you think it's there throughout it?
Well, yeah, just in the sense that everyone has their own metaphysics, and in the sense that, like, he's operating from his own metaphysics, and I just think that's so interesting that's how it's a conspiracy theory, and so the movie is getting at conspiracism so well, because, like, what is conspiracy theories but, like, you're inventing your own little metaphysics, and it's out of these metaphysical presuppositions that that we build the rest of our lives, that we build the decisions we make, which is disturbing, because metaphysics is also sort of the land of unknowable bullshit at the same time. And so it's that contradiction that I've been thinking about a lot, that, like, we have to be metaphysical animals, and yet we're not, like, these grounds are groundless. We can't really defend our metaphysics against an opposing one.
Yeah, I think for me, like, to go to that, that person scoffing and saying, "Oh, workers are miserable and power elites are beautiful and humans need to be eradicated." That's not at all what I took from the film. I really did take a really, really interesting, like leaving the film, I was almost ambivalent. I was almost like, I don't know how to feel. I love this movie, but also I feel implicated for loving this movie, because, like, the way it ended, it turns the gaze back onto me as the consumer, as the audience, and it's like, well, yeah, the truth is the truth, but the truth is, like, doesn't matter if it's, like, rigorous or if it's just kind of accidentally the truth. Like, I still have my own version of the truth, and in my version of the truth, I have to be able to stand up to the externalized truth, or this kind of other, and I have to be able to withstand the encounter with the other. And that's the thing, like, Jesse Plemons can't, but also he's correct in the end. So, like, it is this weird contradictory movie. I don't know, and that's what I liked so much about it. And it is metaphysical, and it is kind of implicating us. And I think the tendency of culture, we're all moving in the solipsistic direction. Like, we all do have women chained up in our basements. We all are private tyrants over our own little universe by way of the commodity and the superegoic logic of capital. And it's like the real, in quotes, is decaying. And we do find ourselves, like, convinced conspiracy theorists who would attack a healthcare CEO or chain up a healthcare CEO. Like, that is all of us. That's where we find ourselves right now. And we have to be willing to do the critical self-reflection. But it is, I mean, the weird part about the ending is that the conspiracy is validated and bad evidence is validated.
Yeah.
So okay, hold on, because I think let's add a little bit more detail to what goes. So okay, Jesse Plemons and his sidekick kidnap a CEO, healthcare CEO, played by Emma Stone. Now, the reason Jesse does this is because he is convinced that Emma Stone and her company are at fault for his mother contracting a serious disease, and he thinks it's the pharmaceutical company's fault that all this is happening. So there's the motivation for why he's trying to abduct her.
Yeah.
Now, throughout all of his pain and struggle in basically losing his mom, who's a vegetable at this point in the story, is he's tried to understand this through a conspiratorial story. And it has to do with a secret race of aliens being the power elite. They look like humans, they talk like humans, but ultimately it's very much they live without the glasses.
Yeah.
And so
podcasts are his glasses.
Say what?
Podcasts are his...
podcasts are his glasses. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot. So he develops this conspiracy about, how you detect an alien, what tests you got to do to confirm they're an alien, what kind of traits they have, blah, blah, blah. And so when you're watching this, you're like, this is all bullshit. This is just some crazy guy who's concocted a conspiracy theory and gone down a internet rabbit hole. And so even though you don't like Emma Stone because she is the embodiment of everything that CEO logic is, right? Heartless. I mean, there's this moment in the movie that really makes you hate her, where she's this pure super egoic figure. And what she does is the company it's gotten in trouble for overworking its workers. And so now it's established a new policy that workers are absolutely free to leave work at 5:30.
Dude,
I was going to bring this up. Yeah.
So, but what she does, this is a super egoic maneuver. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're free to leave work early unless you want to stay, unless you have more work to do and you don't want to have to do it later and you want to get it done today. It's a whole pivot from the company taking responsibility for the overworked workers. And now you have to still be overworked, but now you have to enjoy it. You have to take responsibility for it, and it's on you.
Yeah.
And the way that she does this and implements it makes you despise her fucking ass.
Yeah. And the vague instructions, this is how Zizek talks about Stalinism.
Right, exactly.
Like the instruction that is impossible to interpret, right?
Yeah. And prohibition itself is prohibited. You can't state, hey, this bitch is playing this game here, this rhetoric game, to put the blame on us. So we still have to nothing's changed.
Yep.
But if you address it and say that, you would be immediately fired.
Yep. Yeah. Because she tells her secretary or someone to like go out and make sure you tell everyone that they can leave whenever they want. But they should finish their work. They should finish their work, but they can leave. And she goes like back and forth.
And
like
if they want to if they feel like working or they want to stay or.
Yes. And so the message you get is obviously you cannot go home tonight. It's the message you get, but it's through this but only if you want. It's your choice.
This affirmative enjoy.
Yeah. And so this is why after I watched it and I was thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, this is the superego, right? That's and so she's a CEO, so she is part of this deterritorializing machine. Enjoy your deterritorialization, right? And so she's part of that. And then look at the response of the working class miserable to this. Is that not like a kind of a psychotic response to this like superego capitalist? You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, maybe I'm just wanted to see what you guys thought about that, because I'm like, maybe the psychosis is downstream of the superego. Is kind of my thought
again. But at the end of the day, like, and this is just psychosis to me means the foreclosure of the name of the signifier. Now, other Lacanians go, it doesn't mean, okay, fine. So you're talking about some other psychosis that isn't psychosis, but you're using the word psychosis and you're qualifying it by saying it's ordinary. I just don't, it doesn't do anything for me. And the superegoic imperative to enjoy means don't be castrated. Well, don't be castrated means, in a sense, one of the effects it could have is exactly the disposition Jesse has, which is this kind of certainty. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm not lacking. Anytime that Emma Stone tries to point out his castration, he reacts violently. He has to be uncastrated. And that's what enjoy means, be uncastrated. So the problem with that is it locks you into a kind of certainty that's also an isolated, idiosyncratic certainty. And so that, if that drives somebody into psychosis, I mean, maybe, but at the end of the day, he firmly understands prohibition. He firmly understands certain things are wrong, certain things are right. So I don't know.
I guess my like, aren't the coordinates of like his coordinates of what's wrong and right, his coordinates of prohibition are his own. He manifested those coordinates, you know, because he's playing by his own rules, you know.
Okay, but what he didn't do is he himself originate the idea some things are right, some things are wrong. He got that from society.
Right.
Now he might be saying this is right, this is wrong, but he didn't get that idea from himself. And and the psychotic doesn't even think in those terms anyway. Not really. Right. They might try to mimic it, but they're not tapped into that.
And when I'm referring to like psychosis, I'm only referring to the Jacques-Alain Miller essay, Ordinary Psychosis Revisited, where he's not saying like we've all literally become psychotic, but he's saying that like there's kind of there's a gap in there's a third category that he's trying to carve out using the term ordinary psychosis. I understand that's not persuasive to everyone, but like, I guess to me, there's something that like rings true when I'm like, I meet people like this. I meet people who they're impossible to convince about anything that they haven't, you know, that isn't out of their own.
That's also superegoic certainty, though.
Yeah.
That is somebody who's saying, you will not make me feel castrated. So I don't know.
Is that perverse? Do you see that as like what is the relationship? I think
there's a connection between superego and perversion.
Yeah.
And so again, you have the thinkers who think somehow ordinary psychosis is better representative of what's going on in the culture. I would still go with Zizek and Todd and side with superego. And again, my term, this is Superego Oriented Neurosis. I just think that a lot of clinicians do not, especially Lacanian clinicians, do not think in terms of the superego. And it's because there is no seminar dedicated to the superego. There's so little on superego in Lacan's work that if you're a clinical Lacanian, it's not going to, you're not going to, objet is everywhere and the non-relations everywhere in the late stuff. Superego's here, there, and that's it. And so it's Zizek that made this thing what it is. And if you're clinical in your orientation about how you go about theorizing, Slavoy's not your main referent. So
I think that's I think that's it. I don't like Jacques-Alain Miller. I don't like people who always make recourse to Jacques-Alain Miller. I can't stand it. And yeah, like it's Zizek, it's McGowan. We're not analysts. I'm sorry, dude. I am a broke boy. I have never set foot in an analyst's office. I've never imagined I would ever set foot in an analyst's office. I went to court-ordered fucking cognitive behavioral therapy, like all that bullshit. But like analysis has nothing to do with the overwhelming majority of people on the planet. And I think we can take Lacan and we can apply Lacan to theory. And I don't think we need to be beholden to the clinic or the cartels. I'm sorry, dude. Like these guys are on fucking cloud nine as far they're the perverts. They're the fucking psychotics as far as I'm concerned. And
I like to reverse you're taking away the aura by anglicizing.
Yeah.
Jacques-Alain. I'm like I like to do the reverse, and like I want to give aura to people. I want to give aura by saying like Jean-Luc Carpentier instead of John Carpenter.
What about when somebody does Gilles Deleuze and Felix?
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry, homeboy.
Up,
like
dude.
I'm a dumb American.
Kierkegaard.
I'm a dumb American, dude. I don't care. Like, you know what would be cool is 50 years from now if people in France are like, oh, and then Nantes, les Nantes. Fuck you guys, dude. Like, it's like, come on, man. Like the academy, the ivory tower, these institutes, the aura. We are dealing with real life in a way, and we are resisting the kind of super egoic commandment to be in the in group. I can pronounce Jacques-Alain Miller. That right there is a fucking example of the super egoic injunction to like, no, fuck off, dude. Sorry, Holmes. Like, but
that's crazy. Like that goes back to like the Norman invasion is the reason why we have these like associations, like high class is
for sure, dude.
Like the Latin shit and the Germanic is the trash.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Even if you want to pronounce it, let's Guattari. Look, I just said it. Guattari.
Yeah.
You can do Guattari.
Guattari. Yeah.
But can we bring
Guattari? Like,
can we bring some aura
American,
to
shut the fuck up?
Can we bring some aura to Anglo names? Like that's why I want to like to me like John Carpenter is a fucking artist. You know what I mean?
Jean Carpentier.
I watched They Live last night at movie night.
Yeah. Like, come on, The Mouth of Madness, like that movie's fucking
amazing.
That's art. The movie's art,
dude.
You know.
Okay, so hold on. Oh, okay, so they kidnap Emma Stone. They do these fucked up tests on her. She tries to negotiate with them. The sidekick kind of identifies with her and sympathizes with her. Eventually, she convinces the sidekick to let her go.
Such a poignant fucking moment, dude.
And it's an incredible, yeah. He ends up going, okay, you can leave, but then he offs himself.
Yeah, because he believes that he's
gonna go with her.
Yeah, he's gonna go.
Will you take me with you? Will you take me with you? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
He wants to get off the earth.
Tell him I'm sorry.
His life is so sad,
dude. Yeah. Like that shit.
How many people feel like
Gomer
that?
Pyle style.
And how many people feel like that today,
dude?
As a result of capitalism,
dude. If aliens came down right now, I'd be like, fucking take me, dude. I don't care, dude. Bomb the planet. Take me, dude. Like,
yeah. And I guess that's the moment where like the psychosis makes some kind of sense to me. Like, and maybe it's, I don't know. Like just saying it has some resonance with me because I'm like, we're so sick of reality that we're like, fuck reality. Like just all of it. Yeah. All of it, you know, and that's to me why it has some resonance with me where I'm like, just intuitively, I'm like, yeah, it sounds like we all just want to just fucking. But
I don't think he's sick of reality. You know, I think he's sick of here.
I think
yeah,
for
but
me,
this is reality.
The prime, like the biggest thing for me is the fact that he doesn't recognize himself in the world around him. He doesn't have a representative of the other. And like for me, it's this solipsistic moment. Like this is what the superegoic logic is doing to us. It's taking away our ability to recognize ourselves in the world around us and in the other. And because we don't feel like we belong. And so it's like, fair enough. I never belonged here in the first place, but it's also at the same time convincing you that you're wrong for feeling like you don't belong. And that's the thing. Like, newsflash, you don't belong. And it's in that like collective non-belonging is where we have the moment of failed recognition. But it's that operation of like, oh, we are an island of misfit toys, but that is what binds us together. The superegoic logic of capital breaks down that operation, and so we become perverted solipsists. And that's a very painful thing to do. Like, you do feel like the islands of jouissance. Like, you do feel like you're You're kind of set adrift, and you are an unnatural creature in an unnatural world, and that's a very painful thing to endure. And I think with the cousin, like, it's this moment of, he's not rejecting reality. He's just in pain, unbearable pain.
Yeah, and he sees no way out. So like he wants out of he shot himself. Like he wants out of reality. He really
But see, I don't
truly
think
does.
here is, I mean, why would that be exhaustive of the category of reality? I think he wants to go somewhere else, which would be real to him too.
Yeah.
It's like,
But
I mean, when
I think if you pull the trigger, right, you're like, it seems to me like he's willing to either go to the spaceship or die, you know, like
but
I don't think
he might say the spaceship is reality. This is the prison of illusion.
Yeah.
I guess the sense of despair to me suggests that like what he feels is that reality is inescapable and he just doesn't want to do it anymore at any cost.
I don't think that makes
I
one
guess that's how
psychotic.
I read it. Like, what's that?
I don't think that makes one psychotic. I think that makes one just
You can be very rational.
yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I
guess what I'm saying is I don't know.
I think I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I do. I think it is this diminished condition that we find ourselves in, and I don't think it's this kind of psychotic condition. I think it is just like the box that we are in has been shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and we're like contorted into this form that's just unendurable. And
a minimal self.
Yeah, the minimal self, bare life. Like we're being forced to be bare life, but it's like we are luminous beings, Anakin. You know, like we're the dreamers of dreams. Like the human is this kind of infinite thing, and when we can't see that, we can't envision the unfolding. Like when you look at the future and all you see is suffering and pain and failure, it's like, well, I've already lost. And I don't think that's a psychotic decision. I think it's a very human decision. But I take your point well. I do.
Look, take on, but just as an analogy, when Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption, he spends 20 years, 15 years, whatever it was, digging that fucking way out. It wasn't because he was trying to, he was done with reality. If anything, it's almost like the prison cell deprives you of reality.
Yeah.
It almost locks you into like a fucking limbo state where you're like, I'm supposed to be living a real life. Like, that's what I want to say with wage labor. Like, wage labor deprives me of my real life.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then the thing that I want to escape isn't reality. It's
irreality.
I guess what I would say is that maybe sometimes the most rational and human thing you can do is become schizophrenic. Is like just not have to play.
Slow down, Deleuze. Slow down.
Well, as that guy said, did you guys watch that video?
I started.
No, I didn't.
I started it.
Okay. No, he goes out of his way to stress like Deleuze did not affirm schizophrenics. He affirmed a schizo process.
Yeah,
and that schizo process is not clinical schizophrenia. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
But the sensational letters, of course, everyone thinks, oh yeah, Deleuze and Guattari, like affirm schizophrenia, affirm the psychotic.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, here's where we go. So after the sidekick kills himself, basically Jesse's been trying to get Emma to confess she's an alien. Hey, I know what kind of ship you are. Hey, I did this test and I found out that you're a special alien. You have special empress.
You're the queen. And he apologizes
royal
to her.
Blood.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Highness. I didn't mean to harm you.
And so
the electrocution scene is fucking brutal.
That was
right.
brutal.
He finds us out through electrocuting her. So basically by the end, she's like, yes, I'm an alien. It's true. Because you're like, oh, she's playing him. This is her one way to get out of here. So she's telling him what she wants to hear, and she convinces him, okay, you want to have an audience with the Emperor alien, so you can convince him to leave humanity alone and stop doing what we're doing on Earth. I will take you to the portal where you can cross over to the other side and have this audience with him. And so she takes him to her the closet in her office at her job, or at her business, the pharmaceutical
the
company.
96 digit password that she enters on the 1991 Texas Instruments calculator.
And you're like, oh, she's so playing him like a fiddle. She's exploiting the fact that he's completely certain about this conspiracy theory. And then once she enters this code, he fucking explodes in the fucking closet. And you're like,
well, you think so he straps on the fucking,
he literally explodes.
He has the suicide bomber vest on, and because he's at this point he's totally irrational. At this point he's beyond manic. At this point he is the psychotic. He is the lunatic, and you're thinking, okay, they're gonna play it straight. So he has the suicide bomber vest. He goes in the closet, and she enters the code, and he explodes, and you think, oh, the bomb. He must have somehow blew the bomb up. And then, fade to black. She comes to in the back of the ambulance, and she's being treated. She's bleeding, and, she was just in an office with a bomb that exploded. But she wakes up, and she's like, where am I? I have to go. She jets. She fucking books it back to the office. She told him
they can only, and he said this, he knew this, we can only enter this portal or make this crossover during the lunar eclipse.
Yeah.
And so when she hops out the ambulance and starts rushing, you're like,
what the fuck?
Is she like an alien?
Yeah, dude, that was the moment.
And that's the twist. And she really was all along. The whole conspiracy theory was accurate. It turns out that the way that he had her ship looking is the way the ship looks.
Yep.
He had it all figured out. Mm-hmm. And when she crosses over to the outside, because it's a very Landian ending. There is an outside. There are lofty powers. We want to call them lemurs. There are higher intelligences that are watching the inside, the Earth. And of course, the Earth is flat.
Yeah,
as they have it depicted
that
there.
was fucking great. The way that they have the flat Earth.
And so you have the lofty powers on the outside looking in to what Land would call the time circuit, which is our universe, especially our Earth. And they decide humanity needs to go, and Emma Stone makes the choice, and she kills all the humans on the planet, and then we get back to the bee starting to flourish again. And so it's Landian. Why? Of course, because there's the outside, there's higher intelligences, they're pulling the strings, and so okay. What I like about the film is what I dislike about the film. And Nance and I already talked about this. I like that it goes for because this is not a movie, you don't really see this coming. It is played so dramatically and so seriously with such great acting. You're like, there's no metaphysical transcendent. There's none of that. The guy's just crazy. Well, he's not crazy. There is a metaphysical outside here. And so it validates his conspiratorial evidence for it, his conspiratorial thinking. And it says, see, the dumb working class conspiracy theorists that you laughed at actually got it right. And so that's where I have these strong mixed feelings, this ambivalence, because I want to believe in evidence that has to be of a certain quality, a certain standard. At the same time, what did Socrates do? He didn't just challenge the silly, ridiculous beliefs of the Greek citizens. He challenged their seemingly most foundational presuppositions, the common sense that all of them agreed upon, that had this universal consensus around it. That's what he went after. And that's why they killed him. And so there's a sense where the film's saying you rely on your fundamental approved common sense and you laugh at these conspiracy theorists. Are you sure your common sense is so sensical?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great philosophical question to ask.
Yeah. It's
also a bit of a problem to just confirm or the wild conspiracy theories. Like, yeah, see, they get it right. They're true. And so the question is, yeah, but how? How do you get it right? You can say he got it right, and you can say, oh, look, the way. How do you find out the ship looks that way. What mode of verification was he? They don't go into any of that. So the epistemological issue is the issue I have with the film. And it's also the thing that I like about it because it makes this an issue at all.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I think that you're absolutely supposed to feel ambivalent.
Yeah.
Like there's no way you can walk away from this film and be like, I have a clear head. Like, you know, like
yeah.
you're definitely supposed. So like, to me, the fact that you feel ambivalent is like, it's a testament that like they hit the nail on the head, you know? And, they kind of hint at the evidence gathering. It seems like when they're in the secret room in the basement, it seems like this has been going on. Like there's some dialogue about how she asks him how many of them were.
Yeah, because he talks about the others.
The others, yeah. So they heavily imply that there's been many times where he's abducted people, and so there has been this long process of evidence gathering. But of course, this only comes like very close to the end of the film that you get all of this, and it's sort of dumped on you, and you're like, oh, so. But the fact that it leaves what is reality open somewhat is like, that's why to me it's like a perfect movie, because it's like that's what experience is like. That's the problem, is that like the grounds are always groundless. In even the things on which we build our whole lives and our societies, these things cannot be justified in the certain kind of way that we want them to be. And so the movie walks away and you feel like, what the fuck is real? And I think that's like, that's as honest as it could have been. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like it. It portrayed, I think, so many average, everyday, run-of-the-mill people. And I think it was done lovingly and sensitively. And of course, Jesse Plemons and even Stavros and his cousin, like it's a movie, so they have to make it, you know, a little sensational and a little bit maybe even edgy or exciting. But I do think like there was a lot of love, at least a lot of thought put into like, how are we going to depict these guys, these average everyday guys? And they're you can see that they have been driven mad. Now, whether we're going to call it, like, whatever we need to call it, do we need to have some clinical name for it or what? It doesn't matter, because for the average everyday person, just to say that we're being driven mad by the world, by these kind of corporations coming in and poisoning our loved ones, or failing to pay for their necessary medical treatment, and even destroying the bees and destroying like the bounty of nature around us. Like like capitalism has made us all miserable. And it's fair to say that for the average everyday person. And the depiction of that, I think, is really, really powerful. Like the fact that he's a podcast bro. He's working a shitty job. He listens to podcasts. He doesn't have a woman or a significant other. Like, he doesn't have a lifeline to the future. That is the state of millions or even billions of people right now. And this is a problem we need to reckon with. And rather than being CEOs and sitting back and getting to play the role that Emma Stone was playing, where she is the educated, polite, liberal CEO. Like, no, we actually have to take the side of this lumpenized dude who, on his surface reading, you may not like him.
But even Emma Stone's character, the CEO, is still sympathetic. Whether she's an alien who kills everyone on Earth or she's a CEO, she's still sympathetic, you know?
And what's great is how quickly you find yourself feeling bad for her.
Yeah.
You just despised her a minute ago.
Yeah. Yeah. It was excellent, man. There's multiple levels of this kind of contradiction in the entire film. And the ending, like we talked about it, and we were talking about other movies. Mikey, you brought up Sorry to Bother You as another kind of weird, artsy, radical film.
I think it makes a good double feature, because I think they have a lot in common. They're going to get you to think about a lot. But I think as films, one embodies identity, whereas the other embodies subjectivity. Now, that doesn't seem to make sense to anybody who's not in our circuit of jargon. But what I mean is, Sorry to Bother You is a film that comes off as being It is what it is.
Hmm.
And what it is this kind of Marxist leftist type of inspired film about the evils of capitalism. The end. And hey, I want to watch a movie like that sometimes. And you root for the main character. Capitalism does make us into workhorses, all this kind of stuff. But the movie's not at odds with itself the way that Bugonia is. Mm-hmm. And that's what we mean by subjectivity here. And I'm not going to go into why, like, identity is just pure thisness. It is what it is. And subjectivity is this inner division. I'll leave the technical stuff out, but that's what we're getting at, is a pure identity versus something that's intrinsically contradictory and at odds with itself.
Yeah.
And I think the reason the three of us like it is Bugonia is at odds with itself.
Yeah, and the anti-capitalism in Bugonia is just as monstrous as the capitalism. Like the opposition to capitalism, where he's like abducting the CEO. That's obvious.
Torturing her in a basement.
Yeah, and holding her in a basement and electrocuting her. It's exactly as monstrous as what Emma Stone is responsible for doing to his mom.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And so look, here's the thing I want to point out. So I do think the film is really great as a critique of certainty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
And here's why. Because Nance, you just said, leave the technical jargon out where we're fighting over superego or psychosis, blah, blah, blah. What it's depicting is these guys who are being driven mad by their society.
Yep.
But here's the weird thing. They're also being driven sane because he's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's correct.
Right.
So here's where I think we have to bring in the famous Lacanian maxim, which is, even if what you're saying is true, you're still behaving pathologically, which is to say, even if what you're saying is completely rational and sane, the way that you're behaving in relation to it is insane.
Well, and so a movie like Sorry to Bother You allows us to get carried away with, the Marxist fanatical fervor, whereas the movie like Bugonia, it says, no, you also have a woman chained up in your basement. You may be right, but first you have to deal with the woman chained up in your basement, because that is unacceptable.
Again, you keep using that. I love that. That needs to be like a phrase you use, but tell them again what you mean precisely by that.
It is the certainty, and it is like we are constructing the world. We are guilty, or we are always implicated in the world. Like, you are an active part of the world around you. And you don't get a pass, even if what you say corresponds with what is true. You can't be the fanatic. You can't be the solipsistic person who is so self-certain and so secure in their identity that you're willing to treat others like objects, and you're willing to objectify the world around you, thus turning yourself into an object. Like, because that then forecloses you going out and being able to be a human. Like, you are turning yourself into a monster. You're already a monster, and we have to cope with our monstrosity and deal with our monstrosity first and foremost in order to be able to meet the other and engage in ethical action. So, like, you may be right, but you're acting like a fucking fanatic.
Yeah, and that's what I like. It is saying certainty is monstrous.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the inability to be flexible. So look, I love this continuum. Like, I what the film is saying is that, at least the way I read it, capitalism produces both Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. These two on the opposite ends of the capitalistic continuum are not radically separate. They're on a continuum, and one's at the far end and one's at the other end. But this continuum itself is what pushes one in either of these directions. And it's interesting, Nick Land has a similar analysis of capitalism in Fang Numina. I forget exactly what essay, maybe Machinic Desire or Circuitries. It's one of those. But he has this example of the Wall Street CEO who's completely coked out and basically destroying their life. Wolf of Wall Street, right? Excess jouissance becomes to the point that they can't function. They destabilize themselves, right? What seems to be the absolute opposite of the Wall Street stockbroker? The bum. But Land's point is like, no, the bum and the coked out stockbroker are the two extremes of capitalism. And I don't know if he would say that now, but I like the Land that said it originally. Yeah. And I think he was making a valid point. And I think whether it's the bum and the stockbroker on this continuum, or it's Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone characters in Bugonia that's on this, it shows how capitalism has this force that pushes the two extremes for a person are either end of this continuum.
And I think they're necessary elements of it as well. Like, it's not just like, oh, these things are antipodes on this, theoretical continuum. Like, no, these things are necessary elements of this society constructed on this accumulatory logic. And it does become more extreme, and the expression of such becomes more extreme as the machine accelerates and as capital re-territorializes all the empty space and starts to like fill in all the gaps that we were free to previously fill in for ourselves with things that didn't require certainty. Because like art and emotional expression and play, these things don't require certainty in the same way as like the totalized, commoditized place does. You can't commoditize play. Like when play is this thing where everyone agrees, like, no, this is all bullshit. It's all made up. It doesn't matter. Like we're here to goof off and be silly. You can't have like, that's what kills me about skateboarding being in the Olympics now. Like skateboarding used to just be this thing like, yeah, we're all losers. We're going to do drugs and write graffiti on walls and also skateboard. And now skateboarding is a pathway to the Olympics, and you have Nike commercials and Gatorade commercials paying kids millions of dollars to ride skateboards. That to me is monstrous and dehumanizing of something that previously was there's no certainty in skateboarding. It's made up. It's a game. Like everyone is aware of the fact that this is purely made up and we made it up ourselves. But once something is a commodity, there comes along this almost metaphysical narrative of like, this is the proper thing. Like, why can't I go to China and buy Fuji? Like the knockoff shit they make in China, or the knockoff shit you can buy downtown from the dudes who get it from China. Some of that shit is just as good as name brand shit, but because it doesn't have the name brand on it, it's a knockoff. Like, I want to get Fuji. I want Folkleys. I want the knockoffs, the bootlegs, the Fugazis. But because they don't fit into the brand that carries this metaphysical, like just saying Gucci. Like when I was a kid, I didn't know exactly what Gucci was, but I knew it was something I should have. And like, I still don't really know what is Gucci. Is it clothes? Is it shoes? Is it sunglasses? I'm not 100% sure, but I just know at some point I want a Gucci shirt.
Mercedes.
Yeah, dude. But it comes down to certainty, like, because Mercedes, there's a brand and there's an institution that provides it. You can be certain that this comes with the Mercedes stamp of approval.
Mm-hmm. And on certainty being monstrous. Like, I think that's a great point. That's what brands, that's what these institutions give us. Like, they're this shorthand where like someone has PhD by their name, and the shorthand is that they're intelligent. Yeah. Like, we know that they're intelligent, right? But are they? Like, I don't know. I've spoken to a Yale PhD who is very clear that all of their grades are wildly inflated. So I don't know. But yeah, like, you can't give out C's in the Ivy League. You can't. It's like, it's not a thing. Because someone's daddy's a donor, and they're going to raise absolute fucking hell if you do that.
Whoa.
But anyway, like, so these things are groundless. These things that seem grounded are totally groundless. And like, uncertainty is monstrous. Like, it's this shorthand that allows us to like categorize people where we can, but like David Foster Wallace has a really great essay where he's like, starts out the essay where there's this like, it's the narrator has this woman who he's like sleeping with, but she's like this crazy hippie, and the narrator does not believe in any of the hippie shit that she's talking about, the chakras or auras or whatever the fuck. But then it becomes very clear that like her metaphysics, that was a way that allowed her to do things and think things that were impossible if she had like a normal metaphysics. Like the way that what she believed was literal functioned as a metaphor for her so well that she ended up surviving a situation that she would have never survived otherwise, you know? So it's like, it just, and I've met people who like, I know someone who is like he's one of my favorite people I've ever met in my entire life. And like, but some of the things he believes are fucking insane. They're fucking
Is this your homie from work?
Yeah. But and they're like what are, bro, but like, and he knows I've had this reaction with him where I'm like, I can't go with you there. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude. But nonetheless, like this clearly gives him a kind of framework where he can understand the world better than he would be able to otherwise, you know. And who would I be to say, because I recognize him as like my intellectual equal. So who would I be able to say that like, no, that's bullshit. Like, and so when you encounter someone who has a different metaphysics than you, I feel like you have to, that has to change what you think reality is. Like, or you have to open the possibility, or could be. Yeah. You have to open, and I say is because I want to make it like more like, no, you have to open the possibility that actually aliens are running the world. Mm-hmm. You have to open the possibility that like maybe that's true. Maybe he's right. Maybe the aliens are about to delete us, you know, and like without giving up your own position at the same time. I feel like that's how we must go through the world. You know?
Yeah, without becoming immediately convinced or immediately certain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because certainty, that's
then when
monsters.
Do we ever say, no, that's just bullshit, though? When do we ever hit that point where we go, that's false, that is not true, that is not reality?
We can believe that, but we cannot be certain about it.
I think this goes back to our ontology versus metaphysics conversation that the three of us have been having for a while, not publicly. Yeah, but I think that's where it goes. And I think we have to be able to separate between the ontic and the absolutely ontological, or we have to be able to separate between what is and what could be. With everything, there's always a level of what could be. We could be Boltzmann brains. We could be brains in jars. We could be, we could be being tempted by Descartes' demon. We could be all of that. But what is the world outside of us and the shared world of cause and effect and all this. And there's
the shared part.
Yeah, there's a layer of uncertainty at the bottom of it that is a groundless ground. And
but when we say, no, that's not possible? If I say, is it possible that I'm a four-sided triangle?
I think the cutoff is does it matter?
Ethics.
Yeah. I think the cutoff is, does that hinder your ability to function as a human, as an ethical agent in the shared world? Like does that lead you to think it's okay to go do monstrous things to other people? And if so, then no, you're full of shit. But but
this is almost where like I want all of us to get more into like philosophy 101 shit.
Yeah.
Because Nance, what you're saying is kind of the pragmatic theory of truth. Whereas is it correspondence theory? Is it coherence theory? Are these three main options? Are they not going to cut it? But I think because we're all wrapped up in our theory silos in a sense. Yeah. I think it helps us to step back and go, okay, what if you plug people like us into philosophy 101? Because I was philosophy 101 for a long time before I got into Deleuze and Lacan and Zizek and all that. And so I think it's worth us thinking through like, okay, is truth just the correspondence of a proposition or a concept in our head with a thing out there in the world? is truth what essentially works for us, that makes things function to the best of their ability? Is truth something that isn't as simple as a simple correspondence between a statement and a thing? Does truth have to be thought of in this cohering sense of different statements that we claim to be true have to cohere in a kind of differential network of truth? And I just think this kind of thing has to come in if we're going to start doing the.
So like, I would put it like this though, that like my metaphysics is that there is a singular truth. Like that is what I believe, right? But I also believe that like arriving at that is not something that I can ever definitively do, because I'm talking about phenomena. That's all I can talk about. There's something behind it.
The truth is noumenal. Capital T truth is noumenal. And maybe small t truth. And I do think you have to account for like the referential totality. Like I do think you have to account for the world as such, or the phenomenon of the world as we like. You can't pick and choose, and you can't say, well, on Tuesdays I'm a cherry gumdrop, and on Wednesdays I'm a dolphin. Like
right. In the referential totality. Sorry, I was just wanted to clarify that's the shared world, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
Okay, but let me give you an example of something. If we're not, there's different modes we can be in. We can be in the philosophical mode of like everything's possible. I'm not gonna just affirm anything because I'm gonna purposely be skeptical.
Yeah.
No, look, if I tell you, like, again, because we're in this mode of having a philosophical conversation right now, but if I just messaged you guys and we're not in this context, and I said, hey, I was hanging out at the pool hall last night with Abraham Lincoln, you guys are gonna go,
of course. Yeah.
But here's the point. That example gives us something to go on. What is it that we go, that's not true and that's not possible? We have something operating in the back of our whatever conscious, unconscious, preconscious criteria we use to determine real from falsity.
Right.
Immediately registers with you guys like, that's not real. That didn't happen.
Yeah, but I think that sense of reality, like, first of all, it's a sense, like it's like a feeling of reality. It's based on what I've already experienced. So I've experienced a world in which Abraham Lincoln is fucking dead, right? So from that perspective, like, no, I would immediately be like, no, that's impossible, you know.
But if I say he came through a portal from the outside,
I would.
And
I would still. The portal is not a thing in my experience. So
I would do the thing where it's like, oh, there's a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance, right? Like,
yeah.
I would do that because I think I think this kind of truth only matters in this ethical sense, where it's like, this is a shared world, this is a shared reality. I very well could be. I could be born last Tuesday, whatever. Like all the arguments and stuff. To me, it always comes back to the fact that, yeah, but this is always already constructed, and we are the agents who constructed it. And if we can't agree on things, that's where it breaks down. That's where it ceases to become true. This is similar to what we're talking about, Mikey. I don't know if you want to break it out, but the Baudrillard conversation we were having.
Yeah. So,
before you do the Baudrillard, it's like the response to me is like, "You're fucking crazy, Mikey."
But also, yeah, you're more than likely crazy.
Okay, before Baudrillard, can I tell you where I was going to go with this? Because I love like how you guys are emphasizing this ethical dimension of dealing with somebody who has, to what from your perspective are crazy beliefs.
Yeah.
Right, because you're trying to say, to just laugh at them, mock them, and write them off is monstrous. Unethical. You don't have to believe them.
Yes.
You don't have to just immediately accept what they're saying, but you have to treat them in a sense that is at least open, not confirming, not affirming, but open.
Otherwise, you're just
in order
a
to maintain
solipsist.
an ethical relation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, you're the pathological certainty.
You're the monster. You're the one with the woman chained up in your basement. If you can't recognize that, be open to the other. You always have to encounter the.
Do you like the term certainist?
Certaintist.
Certaintist.
I don't like certaintism. I hate certaintism. I really do. And I've seen people,
and that's what perverts are.
I've seen people driven mad. I've seen people lose their mind. I've seen people become monsters, all due to certainty, because they have become convinced and they've become certain, and they have forgotten that they are also fallible.
Yeah.
So.
And this is why that's why I'm resistant to people who are like too anti-religious at a certain point, because I'm like, okay, but what Robespierre did in forming a cult around reason was just as monstrous as anything in the history of religion. And so like just going the opposite, it's the problem to me. That's why the problem to me is metaphysical certainty.
Yeah.
That's what is that issue.
So
and religion is given to that, but it isn't always that way, you know.
So here's the thing. The reason the ethical appeal you guys are making appeals to me is because, and I don't know if I've ever said this to either of you, but I grew up watching horror movies. And at a certain point, I would say 10, 15 years ago, something clicked in me. And it's a mixture of how I try to approach philosophy to the best of my abilities. I fail at it, but it's what I aspire to. And this principle I've picked up from horror movies. I want to be the person that if one of my friends was actually having to deal with some horrific situation, Freddy Krueger, Pennywise, whatever, they could actually talk to me and I would at least hear them out and not shun them. Because everybody in horror movies, part of the horror is that you're isolated and nobody believes you, that you're going through this insanely terrifying situation. And I'm like, I would never want to do that to one of my friends. Now, the temptation's there because you yourself can't deal with the horror that this person would be facing if you take it as real. But I've always loved the characters that at least had the courage to be somewhat entertaining or sympathetic towards the person who's sitting there going, you know me, you've known me my whole life. I'm not crazy. I'm dealing with this. Nobody believes me. I want to be a friend to that person.
Yeah.
Right. Well, because you're describing also every episode of the X-Files too.
Okay. So
you're saying like
Scully I'm saying if you are the be like Scully. Exactly. Yeah.
I have to say, I have been rewatching the X-Files, and Mulder is a child. I think Mulder is psychotic, and maybe Scully sometimes enables him, but no, like overall, I do think because that ostracization and that isolation always exacerbates the horror circumstances, right? Like if the victim had another person to go to for help, they could get help and they might not get murdered by the ghost or whatever, but it's because they're isolated and because they're cut off, they have nowhere to turn. It exacerbates things and they fall victim to the cosmic horror.
Well, why did the Losers Club win in it?
Friendship, they believed dude.
Each other.
The power of fucking friendship.
Yeah, but it rooted in they believed each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think that to me is friendship. Like that is the ultimate ethical connection you can have with another person. Is I believe that you are another human. Like you and me are the same category of things.
And you, as another human, have the ability to discern truth from falsity. So if you're telling me something out of the ordinary, not that I immediately believe it,
but something's going on. Something's fucked up.
There's some trust here.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I already have the lesson for today. So when we get to that point,
okay.
Hell yeah.
But I think couldn't we say like don't horror
if it's
movies
watch
then...
it, then it's can we watch the original miniseries
with Tim Curry?
Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Anything with Mr. Curry.
Yeah.
Anything. Yeah. Could we say that horror movies though, like, as every single horror movie has to have this like very frequently it's a totally tortured plot device that makes it so that it happens in isolation to a small group of people. Like every time the car has to break down, and it's like something has to happen where they're cut off, right?
Yeah.
So if that's the basis of horror movies, though, then like that's the basis of that feeling that they're trying to get us to feel. So loneliness is horror. Horror is loneliness.
Yeah. It's ultimate estrangement. Like totally. I think that is what horror is. Horror is investigating the phenomenology of estrangement. Like when you are isolated, when you are estranged, when you are like you look out and it's just there is no recognition. Like you are adrift. Like what's that movie where they're just on a raft in the middle of the ocean? Like that's the plot. They're just set adrift.
I remember that movie, Nance. What is it called?
I can't remember what it's called. But that to me, like that's horror. It's isolation. It's when you are. I mean, fuck, dude. Go to jail. Go do something fucked up. Go get sent to jail, and then when you're in jail, do something more fucked up. So you get sent to solitary confinement. Like that's the most harrowing. I've been in some crazy situations, but the most harrowing shit I've ever dealt with was being placed in solitary confinement. Like you're just cut off in a room with concrete walls, no window. You can't see the sunlight. You don't know what time it is. You're not sure if the world still exists. Like that moment when you're forced to reckon with like, am I the only thing here? Am I the only one left in the universe, or have I been the only thing all along? That is horror.
When the others drain from your experience, you can't even say what reality is.
Exactly. And the world we live in, being a human, we are necessarily socially constituted. I think truth is necessarily this social relation. It's this ethical operation. Yes, there is a noumenal element to it. There's such a thing as metaphysical truth. I just have to.
None of us have it.
Right. None of us have it. None of us can have it. I don't know. It could be X. It could be Y. It could be Z. But we're insulated from that level of truth. I think about it in the same way as I think about like causality, right? Like we have the final cause, the formal cause, the official. Like there's different types of causality. There's different types of truth as well. And I think they're all important. But when it comes down to it, like it's the ethical part of it that matters most, I think.
Yeah. Have you ever like Huey P. Newton talks about surviving solitary confinement, and the way he talked about it is like he just lived in these experiences of like lovely experiences that he had from his like childhood, and he just lived in those in his mind.
You fully retreat. You fully retreat.
Yeah.
And yeah, like
so he's accessing community through memory.
That's it.
And that's all he has.
Yeah. Like it's just like dreaming, right? When your waking brain, or when your brain doesn't have active stimulation, your brain creates fantastic worlds. Like that's what dreams are. That's also what fantasy is, and that's what Jesse Plemons and his cousin do in this movie. Is that I don't even think they reject the world. I think the world has been taken from them due to their material conditions, and in the absence of an actual world, they spontaneously generate this new world with fantastic logic, and I think it's just by accident that it turns out to be true. I think
right.
Like for me,
like you want to go like how did this experiment determine what kind of alien DNA she had?
Yeah, dude. Like and that's what I like. Like I do. I love this movie. I think it's That's what I think it's talking about. Now, the other there is this reading where it's like, yeah, it's validating conspiracist logic, and yeah, it's validating having shoddy evidence and no real kind of empiricist. Like, it's validating this vibes-based world where you don't really have to investigate. You can just come up with shit, and it turns out to be true. I think that's a true reading of the film, but I also think this like dialectical reading that I'm so excited about is also true. So there's two truths of this film, and they're both true at the same time.
And I think, Mikey, you were kind of pushing back on like a wishy-washy truth a little bit, but I feel that absolutely, and especially sometimes I feel that in the world we live in, and I think like while nobody has the truth, like nobody possesses it, because nobody. Like, certainty is just a feeling you have, man. That's just like your opinion, you know? It's like, but that said, I think that like it does seem to be true that like people can be further or closer from it.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, no, like in bocce ball, like no one is the white ball, but you are a certain distance from it or objectively, you know what I mean? So I feel like I don't know how to make that work like in a philosophically rigorous way, but I do feel like sometimes you just want to be like, nah. Like,
yeah, if somebody's coming up to me,
just like, no, man.
Nah,
somebody's coming up to me and saying the rapper Milkbone was the 6th member of Bone Thugs and Harmony. No, he fucking wasn't, bro.
Or
crazy, lazy, busy, wishing flesh.
No, it's the same thing, dude. I don't know. There's an enthusiasm that happens at like Protestant churches in America, specifically like Southern Baptist and Pentecostal. Like there's just this type of like really enthusiastic person who's just so certain.
And that type of independent Baptist certainty was what I was raised with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that.
And you hope it stays like they're certain when they're in the church. Because that's like the functioning person who's like, they're certain in that room and then they leave and then they don't act.
That's
that
a good
certain,
observation.
You know? Like,
there's some that are certain only in that room.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they walk out and they're, you know, one of us.
Yeah.
But no, there's others.
They carry that shit with them
everywhere they go.
Yep.
And so, but what was I going to say? Shit. I just want to say, look, different philosophers I know, Zizek says this somewhere. I would have to do book, chapter, verse on this. I don't know. I think it's ticklish subject. Zizek has said something along these lines. Peter Wolfendale is defending this position. I think we have to defend reason. We have to defend our ability to think through and analyze bullshit, recognize it as bullshit, stamp it as bullshit, and go, no, that's not the case. I want to do that, but from a non-certaintist perspective.
The thing that fills that out is the social, because we come together and being empirical and being rigorous and actually thinking things out is necessary. Like now, one of my best friends was a flat earther, and he was one of my favorite people, similar to your crazy homie. He was just such a good dude, and he was a devout Mormon. So he was a devout Mormon. I was a devout atheist at the time. He's a flat earther. But we like when we would have conversations about it, like I would be empathetic towards him, but I would also be like, but satellites and planets and science and let's logically think about this. But we always reached a point in our conversations where logic didn't matter, and he was like, well, I just believe it. And I was like, okay, that's fine, you can just believe it. But when we meet each other, you have to at least be willing to give up your flat earth bullshit enough that we can work and we can go and live in the shared world in which we live. So it's not to say wishy-washy, woo-woo, everything is possible, because I don't think everything is possible. I'm also I don't like people who take that stance where they're like, well, ultimately everything is possible or anything is possible. it's like, no, we have a world. Why do you have to substitute the actually existing world with this virtual world? Like, no, we live in a world that works. We should be concerned with figuring, why the fuck do you think I spent so much time reading Marx if I'm not concerned with the truth of
exactly
the world we live in?
So here's the question I think that kind of brings that together is like, can we have knowledge without language? If the answer is no, then that means that knowledge is inherently social. And knowledge required, right?
Well, and I think that's the Hegelian position. I mean, spirit, this is what he's talking about. It's this collective intelligibility built up over long periods of social history via institutions, via social practices, via know-how. And so, yeah, I think knowledge has to be considered a byproduct of language. Now, you could also say you have to have the knowledge of language in order to have.
But doesn't it? No, I think there's a distinction to be made between pre-linguistic meaning or significance, and know-how, like this type of embodied significance. But it doesn't really become kind of concretized or even reified as a objective knowledge until language. So yeah, I do think in this strong constructivist sense, our world is constructed, but we're the bricks and the mortar. Like, so it's.
But the Zizek'ian point, to add a layer of complexity to this, is the question of, when we say we know something, what do we mean? That I can recite it explicitly at the conscious level, or do I know it? Do I only truly know it if I spontaneously, not by some metaphysical default, but by my conditioning, it becomes my default?
Yeah.
By that being the default spontaneous way I act in the world. Zizek would say a real belief is what you do, not what you say you believe. I
think getting down to that level is lost on a lot of people. But I do think unconscious belief is, you don't perform your belief, or you don't profess your beliefs, you act your beliefs.
So here's an example, Nance and Sean. But Nance and I, we always think in terms of nihilism, pessimism. We're always wrestling with what kind of pessimists or nihilists are we? We're not the average type. What do we mean by that? Look, if somebody's in this kind of cliche sense of somebody, I'm a nihilist, and they go, let's do the three from Big Lebowski. Right. Okay. So you believe in nothing. Great. But if
nihilist Lebowski.
But if one of those guys actually saw that one of their friends was about to be stabbed and pushed him out of the way and took the knife for him, they're not a nihilist. Because
he's going to fuck you up. You're going to fuck with his friend. I fuck you up.
Right. But the point is, if nothing's significant, if humans have no significance, if there's no value in anything, you can say that at this conscious level, but the way you act is, this person their life is valuable. And even if it means I have to give up mine to preserve it, I'm going to. The act itself is not nihilist. So, and again, I have a very specific cliche image of what a nihilist is here, but I'm using it as an example of just showing you can say you're a nihilist, nothing matters, nobody matters, everything's valueless. But if you act on the basis of other people and other things being of value, you're not really a nihilist.
Yeah.
You know who is a nihilist though? Is Elon somebody Musk. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. There's the CEO in Bugonia. Like I think she is fundamentally nihilistic in the sense that she's able to completely, or be part of a system that's like uprooting communities, that is poisoning people, that is experimenting on people, this sort of thing. Like that, it's not even so much personally she's a nihilist, but I mean, that's nihilistic.
I was going to say, from the perspective of the human, she is nihilistic. But clearly when she's on her
cares about
spaceship,
the lofty powers, right?
Yeah, she's embedded in the social order, and they have shared social conventions and stuff. So she's not like this cosmic nihilist, but towards us, like her attunement toward us is we are just bugs. We're no different from the bees. But aren't we nihilists
towards cows?
That's and that's of course.
So I'm just saying, like, I don't know if that alone, her not giving a shit about us because she's a higher being.
She just doesn't recognize us as. But
her act is nihilistic towards us.
We're not in her Dasein. We don't share Dasein coordinates with her.
Yeah.
No, but don't you think capitalism is that's where nihilism comes from?
Like, I don't. I wouldn't say it's where it originates.
Exchange value is nihilistic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Both of you talked at the same time.
Sorry,
I have no idea what's happening.
Mikey said that exchange value is nihilistic, and I think it is. And similarly, like I wouldn't say capitalism is the origin of nihilism, but I would say capitalism deals in nihilism. Not only is kind of exchange value and totalizing and all that nihilistic, and that it's just purely objective, like it's purely concerned with form. It doesn't care about the content at all. It also engenders a nihilistic tendency. Like, again, going back to this kind of superegoic way in which it works, where as capital gobbles up more and more of the world around us, we see things like, oh yeah, if you feel like going home early, or not even early, if you feel like going home on time, feel free to do so. But maybe don't. Like it offloads all the guilt and all the sentiment and all the emotional content back onto us for us to deal with it. So we always have to deal with feeling good or feeling bad or feeling ambivalent. Like capitalism is just this nihilistic machine to gobble up all the things there are and convert them into something else. And I think it's intensifying.
And I like how I feel like anti-Oedipus, when he only mentions it, Deleuze and Guattari only mentions cynicism a couple times, but what I'm taking away from that is like they say that the age of bad conscience is also the age of cynicism, and I think that like it's that like our beliefs when we enter a world in which like the state is subordinates itself to exchange and industry. When we enter that world, it's like a lot of shit is downhill from that, to the point that like if you think about the pre-modern world where like state and religion were intrinsically connected, there was it wasn't even a thought in anyone's head that they would be separate. And it wouldn't have even made sense to say a separation of church and state, right? That's just like a fundamentally different world from the world we live in which like our beliefs are basically just window dressing. Like we don't, and increasingly as capital becomes more like hegemonic, our beliefs become increasingly more just like decoration, right? They don't actually influence our behavior. And increasingly more and more that's true. They're just like our clothes, our accoutrement. That's all they are, because we can't like, because capitalism is really the thing that is moving. It's the thing generating the motion and the force,
Yeah. And we don't have time. We don't have space to indulge in genuine belief anymore. Like if you're just too exhausted all the time from working, and you can't indulge in beliefs. Like beliefs are now a luxury item that only the people at the top can really have time for. Everyone else is preoccupied with. And I don't know. I think it's probably a good thing that we have freedom to believe or not believe in things. But
what if your belief ends up limiting someone else's freedom?
Yeah, well, there's all that. But
or you're
but that's the problem.
or your non-belief, isn't it? Like,
but okay, like with the pro-choice, pro-life thing, which we don't typically get into this though. Are both sides dealing with the other unethically?
I think I am. I don't know. At the end of the day, I'll retreat back into being an anarchist, and I'll say, "Yeah, dude, don't tell me what to do. Fuck you. I'm going to do what I want to do." And I think that's the ideal state. I think that is the world we should all aspire to live in, is where I can do what the fuck I want to do as long as I'm not encroaching on you, and I don't need a formalization or an institutionalization of that. So yes, I do think. Now, I also think that the pro-life, in quotes, because I think the quote-unquote pro-life position is absurd and small-minded and regressive. I think they are more authoritarian.
So they're only pro-life until you're actually here, then it's fuck you.
Yeah, come on, guy. I think they are, I don't know, to add weights to it, I think that belief is worse than the belief of pro-choice. But also, what I think about it shouldn't be formalized, shouldn't be institutionalized. It should be up to the two people involved in this. Like, it should be up to the people involved.
They have a metaphysical belief about personhood, which, of course, rooted in religion, is the soul. And they think that should determine legal policy.
Well, and it should determine how they act, not how everyone around them acts.
This is why this is a definitionally political issue, because we've arrived at intractable disagreement.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, they're saying that, like, it's a, like, there is a point at which our metaphysical beliefs are going to collide, and it is at the ethical, and there is going to be a collision there, and that's just part of human life. It's inherently, in that sense, political.
And we should be free to figure that out for ourselves. We shouldn't be dominated by any kind of system, be it capitalism or be it any kind of juridical or any type of moralistic religious framework predicated on metaphysical beliefs that we don't have access to. Like, we are agents. We are human fucking beings. We are capable of the ethical relation. In fact, that's what makes us what we are in the first place. So the fact that we always find ourselves subject to systems that take that freedom away, that's ultimately the problem.
Shouldn't the pro-lifer, if the pro-lifer is actually dealing with their position philosophically, shouldn't they go, what I'm presupposing is that a fetus is a soul or a person? That's open to huge skepticism.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm also presupposing that the fetus will want to be born into this world.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big presupposition too.
I have to agree with that, dude.
If you don't deal with this with any type of ambiguity and you only approach it with certainty, it seems like you're taking up an unethical position.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In the name of the highest sense of ethics.
Yeah, because you have a direct line to God, and God told you the truth, right? And so all those heathens and charlatans and others,
we shouldn't have had this sex.
Yeah.
See, but here's the thing. Look what I just did. I went into a hick accent.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep.
And so that's a thing with me. And it was deep. I said it before I could catch it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of my presuppositions on some level, even though I'll sit here and say, I don't like how rural whites are scapegoated, and I don't.
Yeah.
But I went into the hick accent, and I'll tell you why. Because it's based on experience with people from the country who are not at all willing to challenge their basic presuppositions on this issue.
So here's this gave me a great remember the bocce ball metaphor of truth that I was working with earlier. I feel like the measure of that, like when you were saying, like, Mikey, you were talking about the number of propositions going on, that hello, just a minute. So there's stuff going on off camera over here. But like the I feel like the measure of how close you are to the white ball of truth is how many propositions you need in order to believe what you believe. Like, because like language is fundamentally, it's describing phenomena. It's already a lie to begin with, like language inherently is. So that means there's like an Occam's razor thing where the less propositions you need, then the closer you probably are to reality. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, so to me, I think that's how we measure the distance to the white ball, you know?
But I feel like if you're going to operate from this absolutely certain position, you're just going to have to, it's almost an exponential positive feedback loop. So let me take up a position, right? If I say to the most certain pro-lifer, okay, here's the news I hate to break to you. I wish I had never been born. I wish I had not been hurled or thrown into this world. I wish I had not had to spend a single second here. Now they're going to, okay, if they're open, they're going to go, all right, so there was a fetus that came to maturation, grew into the world, and this person is sincerely expressing that they wish they had never been here. Now, I think if you're not operating with certainty, you're going to go, damn, man, like I believe what I believe, and I think it's right, and I want to hold to that, but that's something I got to sit with, right? That to me is an honest response. Here's what's not. God made you for a purpose, and if you're not happy with it, then you're a sinner, and that's on you. But that's what they do.
Oh shit, you're muted, Sean. Hold on.
There we go.
Okay.
Did you see the expansion of propositions that had to happen for you to justify that certainty? Like the second it got pushed back, it was like all these.
So it's a positive
entire
amplification
universe
loop of
yeah. You created an entire universe. It's like why with conspiracism, when you're talking to someone who's like in that shit, you poke a hole in one, and then the goalpost just keeps moving back further and further.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So. I'm not trying to pick on pro-lifers. I just have found in my experience that they are incredibly stubborn when it comes to their basic operating presuppositions in a way that I don't think pro-choice is.
And
I was gonna say I've recently got into an argument with people on Reddit over the Keurig, the coffee machine.
I remember you telling me about
that. Dude. And I was it was in a subreddit for the TrueAnon podcast. And I don't remember all the fucking specifics and details, but like people were talking about the Keurig and they were like, this is not only is this super wasteful, but it makes shit tasting coffee. And I was like, well, they make little metal cups that you pop in there and it's reusable and it's not wasteful anymore. And a couple people were like, yeah, I use that too. But then like everyone else in the subreddit went like, instead of arguing about it being wasteful, and look, I don't disagree, like the hyper commoditization of and I wish I had time to sit back and enjoy coffee like I used to. Like 15 years ago, I used to brew a pot of coffee in the morning and I would sit back and, drink it nice and slow. But over the years, it became this thing where it was like, I hop out of bed, I get ready, I press go in the Keurig and I have to go out the door. Like I don't have time to enjoy these rituals for me. But initially it was about waste. And I was like, well, it's not necessarily wasteful. You can actually make smart consumer choices and it's not wasteful anymore. And then it ceased to be about wastefulness and it became performative coffee culture people who were talking about, oh, my espresso maker, this and that. And like everyone was shitting on me I was like, bitch, I like Folgers. Like I buy cheap coffee. I put it in the little
Don't
reusable.
They know that's the best part of waking up?
It's Folgers in your cup, dude. But it went in this is a ostensibly leftist space. And people were
they just come in with sign value masturbation.
Yeah. And so it started out as a conversation about waste and the commodity and branding. And I don't disagree with any of that. I was just like, well, hey, you can also do this and it's not as wasteful. And then it stopped being about anything real. Like at that moment, it went from truth to something else entirely. And everyone started shitting on me for liking shitty coffee. And they were like, I like the pour over. I like the French press. I like espresso. I like fancy bullshit douchey coffee. And I was like, fuck all you college educated dickheads. Like, fuck all you people. This is
I've got a story for you that happened to me today that's similar.
Yeah.
So I'm at my movie store and I'm a 4K sucker now.
Yeah,
so
dude.
The movies, especially with special effects, I like seeing in 4K because they really do. Most of them truly look better. And it's fun. These movies I've seen my whole life. I feel like I'm seeing them for the first time. So I'm in there and I'm talking to the guy, and the guy who behind the counter, he's known as like, he's a hardcore pop culture junkie nerd type guy. He knows all the movies, but we have good talks. But I was asking him, I was like, is the original X-Men trilogy on 4K? Did they ever put that out? He's like, please tell me you wouldn't buy that. And I'm like, why wouldn't I? I mean, I'm not a big fan of the third one, but the first two I love. And he's like, they're terrible. How can you read the comics? I'm like, dude, don't tell me to read the fucking comics. Like, I'm not reading your fucking I didn't grow up reading comics. I know everybody my age, so many people grew up reading comics.
Gotta say,
I never did.
Those comics go hard, dude. They go hard.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying, I told him, I'm like, I didn't read the comics. I'm 43 years old. I'm sitting, I want to go, read the comics. I read Kant.
Read Kant,
like,
bitch.
You want to play the game. Like, I got the trump card here. Like, motherfucker, read the shit I read.
Yeah.
Come trump some of this shit. So, but no, it's just this, if you haven't read the original X-Men, blah, blah, blah. And then he rattles off the best X-Men. Okay, great. I know the fucking movies. And the first two are great if you don't know the comics. And there are people who know the comics that still like Patrick Stewart as Professor. Yeah. Right? There's things to like about him. I thought X2 was great.
It's that type of...
It's this thing of just sign value. Like, I'm the true purist who gets it.
When certainty becomes this thing that is tied to value, because it's sign value, and you can be the hipster, you could be the person who's in the know, and like that's when these things become antisocial, antisocial, anti-human constructs. Like certainty calcifies into this fucking tumor, this metastatic tumor.
Because we're not talking about anything fucking important,
right? But certainty operates at the levels of X-Men and coffee, all the way on down to things like the human soul. Like, so
dude, that's why people are so obsessed with the canon, that's why everyone wants like what's in the canon, what's not in the canon.
It is.
Yeah. Like that's crazy because that's like the biblical canon. That's where the word comes from. But like people are talking about X-Men as the like in the same way.
Well, it's like when Disney bought Star Wars, I was a nerd. I'm still a nerd, but I was a nerd growing up, and I read all the Star Wars novels. And they were all canon.
Christian did too. He knows all that shit. You guys,
dude, yeah. And now they call it expanded universe, or no, Legends. I think they call it Star Wars Legends. Anyways, but like there was this thing where they threw out the canon. They threw out decades of canon in favor of Disney Star Wars, and it was like I don't remember how old I was. I must have been around 20 or so when Disney bought Star Wars, maybe early 20s. But I was like, that was when I had a moment of like, it doesn't matter. I still like those Star Wars novels. They're still real. They're still true. Like they still bear the same sentimental weight that they did yesterday as they do today. And arguing over canonization and does this tie into the brand, the commodity form of the truth of Star Wars? Is the truth of Star Wars what Disney tells you it is, or is it the sentimental value? The truth of Star Wars is the sentiment, and like that's the thing. We have that relationship to every kind of truth there, or every instance of truth that you come across. There's sentimental content, and then there's the kind of external objective content or form of Jesus told me so, Disney told me so. Do I drink Folgers or do I go to
the big other? Told me
the big
so.
other, right?
And it's crazy. Like, speaking of like belief and like most people accept like some version of like a materialist universe. I think that's just broadly true. But like we act as though that's not true because like, I don't know, to me, if we live in a materialist universe, then like, why is my sentimentality on like on like a different plane than reality? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me that I should morally value my sentimentality below something that is real. You know what I mean? Like, this makes no sense to me. Like, but yet we have this prejudice against our own sentimentality. That's just how we operate in the world.
It's because the commodity form is the dominant form of social congress on the planet, and you can't commoditize that sentimental content. You can simulate it, and it can become a very convincing simulation, and that's why we argue over what is and what is not canon, and who's better, Captain Jean-Luc Picard or Captain Kirk or Captain Archer or Captain Janeway or Captain Sisko. I can keep going Star Trek captains all day.
Or the original Star Wars or the special like. Yeah. And here's the thing, you know what pisses people off with Lucas, because this is how I understand it, when he sold the shit to Disney, he was like, I'll sell you the original trilogy on condition that you never release the pre-special edition versions. And it's like he's certain that this is, and people can go, well, he made them. Yeah, but also just make it possible for people to get the pre-special editions. Like, yeah, what's really the big deal?
Because he was a fucking pervert, just like Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott is also a pervert. Like, that, going back and doing multiple cuts of a film and multiple edits and multiple editions.
You mean the 47 cuts of Blade Runner?
Yeah, dude. Like, tell me that's not the ultimate pervert move, where it's just like, I have to.
Coppola did it with Apocalypse Now.
Yeah,
but the theatrical release does suck ass, though. Like, it's just, that's true. Yeah, like, I'm not saying that there's a right Blade Runner, but the theatrical one is dog shit.
But when do you ever start to doubt your own?
He accidentally.
When do you doubt your certainty after you've done 5 or 6 cuts of a movie? Right. And each one is like, here it is.
Yeah.
And then wait, actually 4 years later, no, here it is.
Right. Yeah. I'm saying that there's multiple true Blade Runners, but there is a false Blade Runner also. And it's the theatrical.
The narration sucks.
It's horrible.
Well, and Harrison Ford intentionally hammed up, like he didn't want to do it, so he intentionally shit the bed when it came to the voiceover he did for that. But yeah, Ridley Scott accidentally discovered the truth of Blade Runner in his obsessive search to be able to express what he was certain about. So I think, again, that's an instance of, like, he was accidentally right all along. It's still pathological to recut your film 5 times.
Yeah.
Like, like, just because he stumbled upon the truth doesn't mean he should have pursued the truth in that form. And again, I think that's what Bugonia shows us. And I think for me, Bugonia forces you to have this kind of ethical encounter with otherness, if not, the other as such. Like, at least it forces you to confront otherness or negation or contradiction in a way that something like Sorry to Bother You doesn't, because it's perfectly self-identical. And I love Sorry to Bother You, and it's similarly, the outside creeps in.
But it's certain of itself.
It's certain of itself. And that is, we just had a great conversation with Chris Catrone. I love Chris. He's an excellent guy. I think it was a fucking excellent conversation. I loved it. But
Military gave it a 10 out of 10 as far as conversations go. So you can't.
Yeah,
that is a truth.
That is very high praise. That is high praise. But that's the thing. Like, engaging with Marxism in this sense, like, I'm finding myself. It's just like, Marxists are too certain. I'm not saying Chris is too certain, because I think Chris demonstrated that he has the capability to think outside of his box. And I think Chris has always done that since I've known him. That's why I like him so much. But there are many Marxists who are just like, yeah, I in the comment section of that video, and by the way, shout out, you left great commenter, but you're also kind of saying like, hey, Nance, stop wasting your time with this stuff and just come read Marxist literature, come read Lukács with us. And for me, it's like, I'm not so certain that's what I should be doing with my time.
Yeah. And like the thing with Marxism that's always fascinates me is that like, in general, of course, is that like, I think Marxism tends to rest on a fucking metaphysics that is like, it's a disavowed sort of metaphysics.
Yep.
I think that the revolution is a transcendent panacea. 100%. I think it's a metaphysical proposition. And that's why it's basically forbidden among Marxists to talk about it.
Yep.
Because it's sacred. The day after the revolution is sacred.
Yep.
And because you leave, and because you leave this open, that just creates this like open door for fantasy, you know, and like Marx may not have intended it to be that way, but that's just the way it worked out, you know, and it created something very powerful. It worked, you know.
So I think what's important to
go ahead. No.
Here's the thing, is just this whole last part on certainty is about Bugonia.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't mention Bugonia when we got into this flow, but the reason we're talking about certainty is because the film itself sparked this conversation. So I just want to give credit to Bugonia for this conversation, because at some point somebody might go, they stopped talking about Bugonia. No, we've talked about it the whole time.
No, certainty is the woman chained up in your basement. That's what.
Yep.
Yeah.
So set her free. Jesse Plemons, set her free. I think it's been a couple hours and this has been a good conversation. I want to tease maybe some potential upcoming topics of conversation, or at least I want to suggest a few and see if you guys have any suggestions for another like film-centered discussion. The one we talked about beforehand, there's a movie, it's on YouTube, it's called There's the Funny Thing About the Johnsons. Is that it, Mikey?
Strange Thing About the Johnsons.
The Strange Thing About the Johnsons.
I have to tell people the story because Todd McGowan's involved and we got him to watch this, but it is
it's a hell of a watch.
Yeah, it's a hell of a watch. And so I've seen it twice now recently. But I think that if people can get past the controversial dimension of it, it can lead to a really important conversation about how law functions in society now, what's going on with authority figures, what's going on with paternal figures.
Yep.
So there's a lot of psychoanalytic nuance to be drawn from that short film. So yeah, I think we should talk about it sometime.
Yeah, I want to talk about that one soon. The three of us have watched it. If we can loop Todd or drag Todd into the conversation, I would love to. And I feel bad that he watched it just because it was so shocking, but also he watched it. I guess he probably wasn't as shocked as we were. At least I was.
It didn't seem to bother him.
Another movie
Content
I really want to talk
is
about.
Daddy issues.
Yeah, the paternal superego all the way. Another movie I want to talk about. I talked about it with you a little bit, Mikey. I finally watched it. Weapons.
I've seen it twice now,
dude.
I haven't seen it. I heard it was good.
So I think I probably have like a idiosyncratic take on the film from what I've seen and heard.
No, tell them what I pointed out to you. So the guy who used to do Wisecrack recently did a video on weapons, and his thesis is that there's really no deep meaning to be brought out of it, that it's a surface movie. Not that it's not a fun one or a good one, just that there's not much depth, theoretical, conceptual depth there. What I like about your interpretation is that you found a way to do that, And it impressed me because I kind of had sided with him because when I've seen it twice and both times I'm just like, it's like it's a lot of fun the first time you see the movie. It's a great first view film. Second view, you're going to see stuff you didn't catch. But after that, I'll be honest, I don't know if I ever need to watch the film again, unless it's to show somebody it for the first time, which is fun.
Wait,
but I don't know how much replay value it has, but it's definitely one to watch at least once.
So I haven't seen it, but it reminds me of a thought I had a little bit ago, which is like, I feel like there's nothing at all to say about The Shining, which is why it's like one of my favorite movies of all time, because like, so what there's even a documentary going into all of these like conspiracy theories about The Shining. It's called Room 237, right?
Yeah, dude.
Isn't that the room? Yeah.
Yep.
And so there's you can spend a lot of time on Reddit or like message boards talking about The Shining and like, whoa, it's dude, this is why it's brilliant. It's because Kubrick made a maze for you to get lost in. There's no fucking like, this is the truth behind The Shining. That's what's brilliant, is it makes you think that there is the truth behind The Shining, that there is a secret. It leads you down that way, but really that's why it's such a good movie, is because it's like, no, you're missing the point. If you think you've solved The Shining, you've missed the whole point.
Yeah,
you know?
like
in regard to so it's like, it's a movie that it's brilliant because you can't say anything about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Okay, first off, I might challenge you on that one down the road.
Okay,
I'll have to think about it. What I will say is, let's just for now presuppose you're right, and that it kind of goes in this weapons category. But even Nance shows that that's not true of weapons. Okay, let's just say there's certain films that don't have a lot of philosophical, theoretical depth to them, and that's okay. This is something Todd McGowan has claimed to me on multiple occasions about Quentin Tarantino and his films, that they're all American surface spectacle, and they're great at what they do, but there's not much to them beyond that. So again, there are people who will disagree with that. Okay. Especially I think when it comes to maybe Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But
oh yeah,
let me get to the point. The point is this.
I love that movie.
If The Shining, it's arguably in my own mind now my favorite Tarantino film, and I cannot fucking believe I'm saying that. But okay, beside the point. We should do a Tarantino episode sometime.
Yeah, we should.
So let's say you're right about The Shining. I will tell you a film of Kubrick's that is the opposite, which is Eyes Wide Shut, which is just. Now, I shout out to Damian Walter, who gave us a shout out for a video we did on Zizek's Metastases of Enjoyment on my channel, Dangerous Maybe. Damian, in his recent video on Kubrick, Epstein, and Eyes Wide Shut, said, hey, you want to understand this Zizek concept of inherent transgression? Go check out Nance and Mikey's video on it. So much love to Damian. We love his channel. Okay. So there's a lot going on in Eyes Wide Shut. And so it's I think it's important to try to find these films that you would say this one doesn't have much to it, even if it's quite enjoyable. This one, even if it's not that enjoyable, has a lot to it. And so, I think that'll probably be something the three of us wrestle with as we talk about films. And look, we're going to do episodes that aren't about films, but I think we all three love getting together to talk about philosophy in films. It seems to be a thing that we all vibe on.
Yeah.
So again, I wish we all lived in the same city because we'd be having
fucking movie nights,
philosophical movie nights all the time.
And to provide a justification for our enjoyment, not that we need it, but is that like, so Samuel Longcar talks about how he talks about like filmmakers as like the poets of our day, and so what is Socrates doing throughout the dialogues is a lot of the time he's referencing the poets. He's referencing this in deconstructing the poets, So I think that's very true. I think that's very apt that like we're looking. I mean, it's society looking at itself in the mirror.
Do we know anybody who's
important to talk
around?
about.
How many people do we know that sit around and read Pride and Prejudice. And if you do, great.
You're not the norm.
People know Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to avoid getting trapped in our own regressive minor language. Like we're actually trying to be able to communicate above the board, like in the mainstream. And what do we have other than cultural artifacts? And what is the dominant cultural artifact? Right now it's film. It's been film for a while. It's also music, but music is harder to talk about because it is more niche, and it lends itself to the hipster culture more than film does. Like film is still probably the most mainstream medium. I think television. I love competition TV shows, and I think at some point in my life I'm just gonna sit back and write a book about. I know.
Yeah, Traitors is dope.
I want to write a book about competition TV because I think it is a lens into society, but it's also very super egoic. It's also very much about like be better. Like the one show I watch about tattoo artists, and there's one about Lego competitions and shit. But even that is already niche. Like film is how you can take a concept like superego, and like I try to do with like a short story. Not everybody's gonna like say like, oh, I want to sit down and read this short story about a robot, where I'm trying to really kind of hone in on the concept of superego. But if we take a film example that everyone has already seen or everyone is aware of and they have access to it, it just makes the most sense to use clicks. Film. Yeah. So,
some part of me wants to rewrite Zizek's book, Looking Awry, an introduction to Lacan via, what is it, Hitchcock or whatever, just because the vast majority of people our age and younger get none of those film references.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a great idea, but it's always going to be dated.
Yep.
Within a couple decades. And so, I mean, when Slavoj refers to all of Hitchcock's films, how many people under 50 have seen most of Hitchcock's films?
Yep.
You're lucky if they've seen Psycho or Vertigo or Rear Window.
Yep.
But they haven't seen Saboteur or Family Plot or, these Lifeboat. So, yeah, it's just a matter of these references are shared social references, opposed to this. Oh, I want to use the word elitist. Like, well, you haven't read.
There's an enjoyment in it too. And that's another thing. The Academy, the Ivory Tower, people who want to sit around and talk about Jacques-Alain Miller are the same people who want to talk about fucking Cassini and Hitchcock and all these weird art films. And it's like, okay, cool, but everyone I meet on the street has no idea what you're talking about, and they don't fucking care. Let's talk about X-Men. Let's talk about Marvel. Let's talk about shit that connects with them.
So anytime I
level.
ever talk about Lacan, or whatever little reputation online I have for philosophy, it's because I connect this shit to shit we all care about that's part of our everyday lives. And yeah, Ingmar Bergman isn't for us.
Yeah.
His films are fucking great. I've watched, I'm a Criterion Collection nerd, but I can't reference Persona to anybody in my world and them get the reference. Ace Ventura, on the other hand.
Yeah, I want to talk about Time Cop and The Mask and Ace Ventura and like movies that real
Monster
people watch.
Squad.
Yeah, dude.
Well, guys, I'm gonna have to get going, but this has been great.
Yeah,
as per usual. I will say, you know what film? I saw it once, and it was right around the time it came out, and I've always known that I wasn't in the right mood, and I didn't really pay attention, and so in a sense, I'm saying I feel like I haven't seen it, even though I did technically see it, and I think it lends itself to one of our conversations. So in the next couple weeks, if you guys could watch Happiness I think that one lends itself to a discussion.
Ooh.
It is one. It's now in the Criterion Collection, but I imagine you can find it streaming.
Yeah,
wherever.
And I wanted to say that that I think that people should read either Lysis by Plato or Emerson's essay on friendship. Both of those are on the topic is friendship. I think that's something that we really need to.
Is this the lesson?
Yeah, this is the lesson. I'm commandeering the lesson.
Not watching the original miniseries It. All right, we're throwing that in there too.
Okay, that's about friendship.
And read the License.
And read Emerson's essay on friendship. Just because I think it's like I think friendship is something that we really radically undervalue. In our society. And to me, Emerson on friendship is just like it's not what we talk about when we say friend. It's on a different fucking planet, you know. So yeah, that's my lesson.
Hell yeah.
And then add I mean that movie's about friendship too, so it fits.
So is
it.
I think Sean, that's an episode in the future, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do It and Emerson.
Ooh,
fuck yeah.
That's dope.
And if you want Lysis too, by the Platonic dialogue. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the 2020 Netflix Power Rangers movie was also about the power of friendship. And I know because I watched it during COVID.
And I'm going to go ahead and make a recommendation on music. TLC, What About Your Friends?
Ooh. And on that note, friends, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for having this conversation, guys. Fucking go outside. Go hug a tree and also a real person in real life. Share the same physical space with another living human being and just appreciate them. Like, put your fucking phone down and hang out with them.
But don't be too certain about it.
All right, fuckers. Peace.
Peace.